mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote, the weekly show where we introduce you to content creators of all shapes and sizes that join us from any and all corners of the nerd universe. We have friendly conversations and promote their projects. I am your host, Ryan of Nerd Culture, and our guest this week is comic book artist Noah Ray's in the building. Noah, welcome to the program, kind sir. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Yes, thank you so much for being here, Noah. We appreciate it so much. And if you have any questions for Noah Ray as we go throughout the course of the show, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments. Our producers are going to be keeping an eye on it as we go throughout the course of the show. But in the meantime here, Noah, how are you specifically introduced to the world of comics? Where did it all start for you when it came to that world?
I think it started out, I read a lot of old comics, like old comics when I was a kid. So a lot of old Spider-Man, a lot of old Batman, a lot of old Superman, stuff like that. Key moment for me, my brother, when I think I turned 8, he gave me a collection of the Steve Ditko and Stan Lee Spider-Man. That's sort of my oldest graphic novel that I own. And it's definitely was formative in that way, as it is to everybody who reads those original comics. And that was my big introduction. And I still have that book. I'm never going to get rid of it for that reason. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is amazing. So you should hold on to that. I'm just saying, no puns intended. Was there a pun? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. Aside from those names that you just dropped, are there any other names as far as some of your favorite comic book writers or artists growing up? Any other names stand out to you?
Well, I remember when I turned 13, I discovered, it was before that, but around the time I turned 13, I discovered Frank Miller, or at least I became aware of him. I knew his work, discovered it when I was 13, and then read what I could read of Frank Miller from the library, and then read a lot about him and sort of what he had to go through to become a comic book artist. Not a perfect person, obviously, so he's not like a role model, but he was a big inspiration for me. As a younger comic person. And then Dave Gibbons, Alan Moore, mainly because of what they did on Watchmen. It's kind of a basic thing to say, but it's a really good book and it's a huge inspiration to me. I love that stuff. I love what Alan Moore can do, and I love Grant Morrison too. Those are some names of people that really, I think, formed a lot of what I wanted out of comics when I was younger. I think I can see their influence in my work to this day in certain ways, but not in every way, but in certain ways.
Oh, of course. Fair enough. Some really good names, some big names you dropped there, no question about it. What would you say are some of your favorite comic book based movies or TV series, whether they be past or present?
I mean, TV series, it's probably the Justice League, the Bruce Timm Justice League, the original series. I grew up watching that, and I still really love that. And now that I'm getting into writing comics, I'm seeing a lot of that show up in my writing. It was very when I grew up, it was important to. Well, it wasn't important. It was like a ritual where I watched the cartoons and then I play acted the cartoons afterwards. Like there was always an element of creation on top of watching those episodes. So that show inspired a lot of play, but also inspires me now a lot in my art. So I think that one, I cannot understate how important that show is still to me as far as like stories go with superheroes. And then movies, I love the 78 Superman. It's probably one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's just a perfect film. The best for me, it's my favorite representation of Superman. And then I'm kind of basic. I love The Dark Knight. I saw that in theaters when I was 12, and it just changed my mind about superheroes and movies. And I think both Superman 78 and The Dark Knight for me are the two of the most brilliant superhero films ever made. I cannot watch them enough, and every time I watch them, I appreciate something new about them.
My goodness, really iconic. There's some iconic titles, some iconic
Yeah, it's
movies
kind
and
of
pieces.
boring
Pieces.
answers.
Yeah, they may no, they're not, they may sound cliche, maybe boring to me or somebody else. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Listen, you like what you like, and that's all
I
you can
do.
ask out of a person. Here's one for you.
Yeah.
The Constructing Comics podcast. Gee, I wonder who that could be. What are your thoughts on the Watchmen movie from 2009, directed by Zack Snyder?
Oh, they know. Oh, they know my opinions. They know it's my favorite movie of all time. Just kidding. I hate that
Whoa.
movie. I hate it so much. I really I have a love-hate relationship. I like certain parts of it, but for the most part, I rail on that movie as much as I can because it's such a phenomenal misunderstanding of the source material, and not even in a like you didn't like it didn't get Watchmen at all. It went the opposite direction of what Watchmen should be, and so it if anyone wants to frustrate me with an opinion, it's when they say, "Isn't Watchmen a really good adaptation of the source material?" I'm like, "No, it's not. It is a misreading. It is a million, like almost $1 billion misreading of one of the greatest novels ever written." And it's if someone made a movie as bad as Watchmen, a movie adaptation of Moby Dick, like
Yeah.
more people would be pissed off. And I hate that like that's the case where it's like Watchmen the movie gets a pass because it kind of recreates some stuff from the graphic novel, but it's just a slap in the face of what Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons did and what they were trying to do with that story. A much better adaptation of Watchmen is the Watchmen HBO series that came out a couple years ago, which is a sequel, but also the best adaptation of the work that Dave Gibbons and Alan Moore and John Higgins did back in the 80s. And that's a much better reading. Okay, that's my rant. I don't like Watchmen, the 2009 movie directed by Zack Snyder. Yeah.
Tell us how you really feel. No, I'm kidding. No, that's fair. Listen,
We're starting off hot.
No, it's okay. Listen, but listen. To be honest with you, I remember. Now, granted, this is coming from someone who hasn't read the original source material. I just went in to see the movie because I was curious to see the film because it looked different than some of the other comic book based films we were getting at that point. So I went in to see it because I thought the trailer for it was I think it was the Smashing Pumpkins song was really intriguing to me. And then I go in to see the movie and I see a little bit too much nudity for my taste, especially with the blue guy. Then you see the weird like just stuff going on in that ship with the love scenes and like people were saying how they miscast a lot of the key roles. And I look back at it and I'm thinking to myself, this is one of the weirdest, most bizarre movies I've ever seen, and I have no intention of ever seeing it ever again. And this is coming from somebody, and let me tell you this too. I am a defender, one of the few defenders of 2013's Man of Steel. I love that movie. I will always love that movie. And Zack Snyder did a tremendously great job on that film. But back then, this guy, like Zack Snyder, I'm thinking, what the heck are you doing? What are you doing? This movie makes no sense to me whatsoever. And then I go and see Man of Steel, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right, Zack Snyder, 180 for me. I like you now. You're cool, kid. So, but then again, this is just my honest opinion. I'm not saying it's fact. This is not the truest thing in the world. I'm just offering my 2 cents. But anyway, enough about the Watchmen thing. Once again, we're talking with Noah Ray, comic book artist, here on this episode. And I quote, if you have questions for Noah, aside from the one that we already answered earlier, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Also, just to give you a heads up, make sure you like and share this video with all 200 of your closest friends. They're going to like the way they look after watching or listening to this episode of And I Quote. I guarantee it. Noah, with that being said, gee whiz, man. When did you decide to become a comic book artist?
I've always made comics. I was cleaning out stuff in my parents' basement last year, and I came across old sketchbooks from when I was in elementary school, and I was finding comics that I created back then. Wow. And I didn't realize it until last year that I've been doing this forever. But I did in high school. I was trying to find a way to balance my love of making art and then maybe find something more practical to go along with it. So I was going back and forth, and in high school, I was able to take some college courses, and one of them was 2-dimensional design, which is a very basic design course. And we had a sequential art assignment, and I did a storyboard / comic for it, and I had so much fun doing it. It had been a long time since it was sort of the first time I'd done something really serious comic wise, And I showed it to my professor, and my professor was not one to give out compliments easy, or like he was very selective with what he told me during that time. He wasn't a very good professor, but he was very selective. So when he said something, he really meant it. And he told me at that time, that you should do comics. Like you have a knack for this. And that felt good to hear. I really enjoyed doing it. And I think it took me a while to, after that, to decide I wanted to do it. But it wasn't that long after graduating from high school, going into college, that I realized I want to make comics for ever. And that's been the dream, still the dream. Love it. Love making comics. Always want to do it. It's great.
There you go. Living the dream. I'm just thinking of random songs. With that being said, don't ask me to sing the whole thing. With that being said, what would you say are some of the rewards about being a comic book artist?
Well, it's the rewards is the community. That's what I love. Currently, it's been the most on my mind. I just spent a weekend with a lot of other comic artists at Small Press Expo. But the community comes with collaboration, which I really love. Matt Kund, who is just in the chat, probably with Constructing Comics. He's been my collaborator now for 5 years. It's been incredibly rewarding to work with him on things. That's what I love about it. But the thing about comics is that no one's in it for money, really. It is an IP factory, obviously, so there is money to be made. But a lot of people like me who are in the indie comic scene are just trying to get stories out there, just trying to do something that we love, make stuff that we love. So the majority of folks working in comics are just here to fulfill this passion that they have inside them to make stories. And I love that. And that's the most rewarding part of it, for sure. I get introduced to so many inspirational people all the time, going to conventions or meeting them online. Or doing our podcast. It just makes me feel alive, and I love feeling alive. So it's great.
I feel so alive. Sorry, I'm thinking of the POD song "Alive." If you know what I'm talking about, no one knows what POD stands.
You keep singing songs I don't know. I don't like it.
That's sad. But anyway, it's called "Alive" by POD, which stands for "Payable on Death." Is the name of the band.
I know. Yeah. See, I know POD, but like I don't know that. Like I've probably heard the song. I just don't know it. But eventually, we'll be able to sing the same song during this interview. I guarantee it.
I think Noah and I are gonna one of the maybe a certain time or a certain moment during the course of this show, we're gonna be able to sing in sync and just do a duet. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll do a karaoke night out
around.
I'm not sure, but stay tuned. More to come, as they say on other spots for other promos. But even so, on the flip side of the coin, though, here, Noah, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges about being a comic book artist?
Motivation's a big one for me. I am someone who needs the muse in order to work. So I'm a very slow worker. I need inspiration. So it's been great this past summer being in a bigger group of comic book artists, because I've been able to work faster, because they sort of, I'm running with the fast people, and it's carrying me along. It's really great. However, I still work incredibly slow. And I need a lot of motivation to keep working, and a lot of inspiration. That's the biggest challenge for me. And I think big part of the motivation is I'm very intimidated by the blank page. I look at that, and it's really intimidating. And then on top of that, you have imposter syndrome, which is a lot of fun. Talk to my therapist about that all the time. It's great. One thing she gave me some really good insight was that, being a comic book artist, it's sort of natural to have imposter syndrome, because you're trying to bring to life a vision, and the whole time while you're doing that, you might feel like it's not your vision to bring to life, especially if you're working with someone else. You're always going to be thinking, am I the right person for this? Is this the story I need to be telling? Could someone else be doing it better? That's a big challenge too, to get over that. Another one I love to talk about is the toolbox fallacy, where it's like, if I only had this much training, if I only had this tool, I could get this done, and blaming it all on the lack of objects or experience in order to just do what you're supposed to do, that's a real challenge, because it's a valid challenge, because it's a valid criticism of yourself to be like, I could be doing better, I could have more. However, it's not productive because you need to start working, you know. So that's a big challenge for me too, is to try to get over that hill of, well, if I had this pen, if I had this ruler, if I had this paper, if I had this scanner, if I had this application to color things on, I could get this done. However, that's no excuse. Just do it. I need to tell myself that I just need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I would agree with you. And imposter syndrome comes up a lot. I've learned a lot about that over the years. I have these ideas in the back of my mind for like a short story or a story that I have certain ideas in my head, but it's hard for me to look at that page on my computer. It's a blank piece of, it's a blank screen, right? And you want to put these ideas on paper, but at times it's difficult because you're either having, whether like you were stating earlier, it was either imposter syndrome, you have other thoughts coursing through your mind. You're thinking, how do I translate this on paper? How do I put my thoughts out? Because for some people, it's difficult to put their thoughts on paper. For some people, maybe a breeze. I don't know. Everyone has a different way about going about their process. And I'm not saying that yours is wrong or anything like that. It's just you have your process, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, imposter syndrome is a huge thing that comes up all the time. But you know what? If you have an idea, if you have a vision or something that you want to put out into the world, one of the best things you can do is keep that idea, keep that passion alive, and just go for it. Because the worst thing you can do is not put your work out there and live in a way like you're doing now. I'm living the dream, and just go for it, man. Like in the words of Shia LaBeouf, just do it. So I know, I'm sorry, that was a horrible impression. I'm sorry, but that's the best I can do for you on such short notice. But
yeah, you did a good job though. I'm impressed.
Oh, thanks,
I know.
Noah. Thanks, I appreciate
but
it.
no, yeah, I want to echo what you're saying. And but it is one thing to say, just do it, right? Because I don't know. People have told me that before, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I could just do it, but it really takes a lot of. I think a big part of it, in order to get over it, is being able to share what you're going with someone who understands. So I was very lucky to have my friend. Well, I had a lot of I've had really good support over the years, but when I started my first big comic project, Dino-Thrashers, I was very lucky. I lived close to my friend Travis Wells, and we've worked together on comics since. But he was starting a comic at the same time I was, and we were both pushing each other to create and sharing with each other our insecurities and our fears with both projects that we were working on. And that having someone like that in your life is really important. And even if they're not another creator, it's just really good to have someone where you can be open with and talk about your inadequacies or how you perceive your inadequacies. And hopefully that person will be like, you're right, you suck, quit. Just kidding. I hope they say, keep going, right? You're worth it. The story you're telling is worth telling. Yeah. And another part of it too is, that's something that I feel like that's really helped me. I really do admire people who are self-motivated. I am not that person. I need a therapist, and I have a therapist, and it's great. So yeah.
Exactly. And there is no shame. There is nothing wrong. And it's not a weakness to ask for
help.
help.
No,
it is not.
It isn't.
So if you have a question, if something is going through your mind, you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure how to really handle this. I'm not sure where exactly to go with this. What should I do? Well, I should ask somebody and present my things to a therapist. And there's nothing wrong with therapy. I agree. If you have a question, if you need help, go and seek it. There is nothing wrong. And it's a strength, not a weakness to ask for help. Okay.
Yeah. Huge strength. It takes a very strong person to admit that they don't know something. And I'm getting better at it. I'm getting stronger in that way, because for a while I would just lone wolf things and not get anything done. It's I'm still really slow. I'm still really bad at getting things done, but I'm getting better. That's what matters. So
there you have it. # mental health matters. Once again, we're talking with comic book artist Noah Ray here on this episode of And I Quote. Make sure you like and share this video with all 300 of your closest friends. They're going to like the way they look after watching or listening to this episode of And I Quote. I guarantee it. If you have any questions for Noah Ray during this show, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Whether you are watching us live or if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for being here. We do greatly appreciate it. I know I want to bring something up here for just a moment, if you don't mind. I have this image here, something known as Dino-Thrashers. So what exactly is Dino-Thrashers, and how did this all come about? What's the elevator pitch?
So Dino-Thrashers is about 4 archaeologists working out in the American Southwest. And they dig up an artifact that they think is a dinosaur egg, but it turns out it's an alien beacon to another dimension. Whoa. And once the beacon is activated, from outer space come these humanoid dinosaurs called the Dino-Thrashers, who are here on Earth to fight the evil pterosaurs. And so 90s throwback, it's G.I. Joe, it's Dino Saucers, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all rolled into one. It's a lot of fun. We've got 2 issues out. You can get them online through the Ageless Press website. We have a Gumroad shop where you can buy a digital copy, you can buy a physical copy. And it's been a really fun series to work on, the 2 issues. That cover is actually by an actor named Leonard Wu, who starred in shows such as what was it called? Marco Polo, and he also had a role in Alita Battle Angel, and but he's also a really talented artist, and so he did the line work on that cover. I added in the letters, so hey, I did have a part in that, and the colors are by my good friend and collaborator Ertan Sihan, who's in Turkey. Love working with him. I've worked with him on a lot of stuff over the last couple of years. Love seeing his work, and Leonard's great too. Loved getting to know him. But how that came about was the writer Mike McCarthy was on Instagram, and he was looking for an artist, and he came across my stuff, and he liked it. He sent me the scripts, and at the time, my co-host, my podcast co-host Matt Kund, had started up an imprint with another comic book writer named Brett Murphy called Ageless Press. And they invited me to be a part of it, and they asked if I had any projects or pitches to bring. And this just happened to come to me at the right time. It was in the middle of the pandemic, so we're all looking to work on something. And this was our first big project as Ageless Press. We took it to Kickstarter. It's a very successful Kickstarter, and then we got issue 2, which was also very successful. Ageless Press introduces Dino-Thrashers, issue 1 and issue 2.
Lagbaus. Is this for older audiences, or can this be for somewhat younger audiences as well?
Oh yeah, it's very PG. It's like it could be for kids.
Okay, because I was wondering, because I do have a niece and a nephew who may get a kick out of this, because I really like the cover.
Yeah, it's what's great is at conventions it seems to really attract the sort of like elementary to middle school boys. When they like come by the table, they seem to really dig the dinosaurs fighting each other on the covers. Which is I think I was that age. I get it.
Yeah,
I've never done that. I like it. That was the impetus behind the book, was just make something that my 11-year-old self would want the action figure from. Ooh. And we don't have action figures. We have some cool sculptures, but that was my I think I said impetus already, but that was the impetus, was just make something that looks cool for cool's sake. And I think we did a good job. Yeah,
I would venture to say so. Now, granted, I know it's not the same thing because it's totally different, but this cover that we just looked at here, for those of you maybe watching, or if you're listening, we just looked at the cover for Dino-Thrashers. Kind of reminds me just a little bit. I don't know if you feel this way, but it kind of reminds me of Beast Wars from back in the day with Transformers. You know, it just, you know what I mean? Like, you see these giant robots that can morph into giant animals, and they're beating the living heck out of each other. That looks like fun.
Yes, agreed. Yeah,
I may have to read Dino-Thrashers and introduce it to my niece and my nephew now. So thanks.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you gotta. It's the next big thing, man. Just kidding. It's great. It's really fun.
Hey,
I've
always be promoting, man. Always market yourself.
Yeah, always be networking.
Oh yeah. Yes, as well as many other things as well. Something else I want to draw your attention to for just a moment here, Noah. This one right here. This is very interesting. So tell us, what exactly are we looking at here for those of you maybe watching or listening to this, and how did this all come about? What is it?
So that is my variant cover for the comic book Mossvale, which I worked on with my friend Travis Wells, who I mentioned earlier. Now, Travis, he like I said, he started working on Mossvale at the same time I was working on Dino-Thrashers. And while he was working on like Mossvale is huge. It's a huge book. So he was working on it through the whole time I was doing Dino-Thrashers 1 and 2. So we were working on both things at the same time. But Travis wrote and did all the art for Mossvale. And what I did on Mossvale was he did all of it on paper. So all the pencils, all the inks, all the colors are all physical media, which is very unique because a lot of art these days, the more standard way of doing comics is through you pencil, maybe you ink traditionally, but then all the colors are done in the computer. Travis does everything traditionally on the page.
Wow.
So my job with Mossvale was, and I was very happy to be a part of Mossvale. Like I shouldn't say my job. My role in Mossvale was making sure that the inks and the colors got scanned separately so we could have them both together. And then I was in charge of adjusting the colors and the levels on the artwork so that it printed well. And then on top of it, I did the letters on the book as well, and a lot of the design of the book. But it's probably my favorite thing I've worked on, even though I didn't really do much drawing for it. It just was wonderful for that Travis allowed me to have any part in bringing this vision to life. And that's only issue 1. He's working on issue 2 right now, and we should hopefully have that out in the next, I don't know, say year and a half or so, because it's a big book. It's beautiful. Now that cover, what's cool about that is that we ran a Kickstarter in July for another book called Superior Sam, Everyone Needs a Home. And I'm just lettering that book and kind of a producer on it as well. One of the award tiers on that, reward tiers, not award tiers. One of the reward tiers on that was a reprint of Mossvale. So Mossvale typically is printed at 8.5 by 11, so magazine size. It's really big and it's beautiful, full color comic art. That cover the cover that's on screen right now, my variant cover will be for a reprint of Mossvale, which will be more of a digest size. So thinking more like 6 by 8. That's probably what that'll be for, and it'll be a little easier for people to pick up at conventions, but also just a nice little award on top of getting Superior Sam. Very excited to have that in print.
My goodness, this is a sharp looking cover, and anyone who's carrying a sword, that's going to grab my attention because swords are awesome.
Well, I didn't even really talk about the world of Mossvale. I should say that it's all these. We had someone on another podcast accurately described the book as Richard Scarry meets a D&D campaign. That's what it is. It's these really cute animals wielding swords. The main character is an owl who is a wizard. And then the other main character is Lucius right there, who's running towards us. And once you read the book, you realize he's running away from the spiders. But, Lucius, how he envisions himself is as bravely running away from things. And that's what the cover's all about. But Lucius is a raccoon who's also something called a tower knight. And he's a lovable coward. And he's adorable. And the whole book is really cute, but it's also really adventurous. It's full of magic and battles, and I love it so much. I never get tired of showing it to people. When we were promoting it, I never got tired of hyping it up. And then when I was editing it, never got tired of reading it. It's just a fun book. And Travis is one of my best friends, so it was so easy to do for him. Love working with the guy. Still love working with him. I'm just looking forward to issue 2. And as I'm seeing the art as it's getting completed, it's just warming my heart. I love Mossvale so much.
My goodness, that is a heck of a description. You have me intrigued. Gee whiz. Yeah,
it's a good book, man. I can't say that enough. Love
Kid friendly?
Mossvale. Oh yeah, it's all ages again. Like even more all ages than Dino-Thrashers, but yeah, very all ages. Your niece and your nephew, they'd love it.
Ooh,
yeah, we have that also available on our Ageless Press Gumroad as well. That's pick that up if you can. And we have it a digital and physical, so whatever you want.
That's even better. Once again, we're talking with comic book artist Noah Ray on this episode of And I Quote. Make sure you like and share this video with all 400 of your closest friends. They're going to like the way they look after watching or listening to this episode of And I Quote. We guarantee it. If you have any questions for Noah, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Whether you are watching us live or if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for being with us. With that being said, Noah, have there been any special memories for you from being at conventions, whether you were there as a vendor or there as an attendee?
Oh yeah, man. This last weekend was really just full of great memories. But yeah, man, I've my first convention I ever went to was Philadelphia Fan Expo in 2017, and it was. I don't think it was very well marketed because it was dead. Like that was my first convention, and it was just like no one was there, and it was a Saturday too. It was really weird, but that meant like I could just go up and talk to people, and it was great. And at that time, I was not that I'm that much older now, but younger and more naive, so I didn't really know con etiquette. So I just went up to people and I was like, "I like your stuff. Can we talk about it?" And I was very Chris Farley in the interviews where I was like, "You were in this. Do you remember that? That was awesome." That was me at that convention. And since I've become a little more aware of what to say and what's annoying to people who are at conventions, but the really cool thing about that convention was Artist Alley, and I got to go meet the people that I would like to hang out with, like I love hanging out with now, the independent comic creators, people who weren't doing, who weren't really even trying to do something that mainstream. They were just making comics because they wanted to make comics, and I got a lot of good advice there. That was my first big convention, but since then I've had, oh man, so many adventures. It's just like they're wild, man. Like if you're there all weekend too, they're wild. It's so much fun. Yeah, the Heroes Con this last summer was an adventure. Getting drunk around your comic book heroes is one of the most fun experiences of my life, and I'm looking forward to replicating that in the future. It's so great. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've spent a lot of weekends at conventions. I've been going to conventions for almost a decade now, so I've seen stuff. It's been fun. It's been fun, and it always is meeting fresh people and new talents. People who've been doing it for a while. You just haven't heard their names yet or haven't discovered their work yet. It's always great to network and meet with other people at conventions, regardless whether it's in the vendors room, artist alley, all that jazz. So yeah, it really is some good stuff. As I was saying, oh, Natalie's in the building. Natalie has a question. She says,
Hey.
"Hello, Noah. When I make art, I find it really hard to think of something original and always end up copying someone else's idea. Do you have any tips for someone with that struggle?" And that's from Natalie.
Oh, Natalie. I wish I knew who you were. Just kidding. That's my sister.
Oh,
But
welcome to the program, Natalie.
yeah. So Natalie, what I have that issue too, but what I do is I like to look at something and just let it sit for a while, you know? And I look at a lot of stuff, obviously, like art wise and comics wise. And I like to let it sit for a while and then try to recreate it instead of like copying it. I usually find that through your imagination and through your imagination, you usually end up filling in the gaps when you're trying to recreate stuff, and that creates something new. That's my tip, is just to let it sit for a little while and then see what happens when you try to recreate it on the page without looking at it. I feel that there's a really good, like, Quentin Tarantino is a guy, but he had a really cool thing where he talked about how in school he really wanted to do scenes from movies that were in theaters. So what he would do is he would go see the movies, and then he would go home and try to recreate the scenes on his typewriter, and then he would bring it in. And what he found out was that he wasn't actually copying the scenes, he was adding on to them. And that's how he started writing dialogue, and how he became good at writing dialogue was trying to copy other people's stuff. So it's really important to copy other people when you're doing art. And that's why it's like when I took my intro art classes, they had a lot of the assignments were copy a master. So I had to do that a couple of times. You know, it's so important to copy. And then if you are looking to do something original, it's really good to just let it simmer and then think about it. You know, take your time to think about it and then try to recreate it. I think that's always great. But Natalie, you're an awesome artist. You don't need me to tell you this. She's Louise. She's acting like she's not talented. Her and her husband, they both are amazing artists. So, yeah.
There you go. Fascinating. I was unaware of this. Thank you very much for the question, Natalie, and for being here.
Yeah,
Make sure
thanks,
you like
Natalie.
and share this video with all your friends.
Yeah, love you, Natalie.
There you go. See,
Yeah.
everyone's getting respect and love tonight. We're all getting it.
Natalie is not quite a bit younger, but she's younger than me. But everybody thinks we're twins. But
Really?
funny thing is, well, because we both have her hair is really red, but she's actually about 2 inches taller than me too.
Wow.
So we hit a point though where she was growing and I was this height, and then everybody thought we were twins, and then she like got taller than me, and now no one thinks we're twins because they're like, yeah, it's like either. It's like, you know, they can tell who's the cooler of the two of us when we're in public. Because that's Natalie. She's really cool. Yeah.
All good. Wow, these are some fun facts we were learning during this episode of And I Quote, shall I say. I do want to let you in on something, that this episode of And I Quote is indeed powered by our good friends over there at Poddex. Now, Poddex are unique interview questions as well as episode starting prompts in the palm of your very own hand. So whether you are a new podcaster or existing broadcaster looking to grow your audience or get more engagement, you're going to want to check out poddex.com. Make sure you use the code RYAN10. That's RYAN10, RYAN10, all one word, RYAN10, for 10% off your first order. You're not going to miss out on that. Thank you very much, Poddex, for powering this episode of And I Quote. With that being said, Noah, if you were to die and come back as a person or a thing, what do you think it would be?
Oh man, I actually have thought about this, and this is more just wishing than it is thinking about it, like what I will be. I think I'd be a dog. I think so. Probably like not just because my hair is red, but like, you know, a really nice like retriever, you know. What are they called? Remember?
Yeah, a golden retriever.
Well, a golden retriever. I'm trying to remember what they are. Like they have like the red hair, like longer red hair. I've always felt the kinship with those dogs, not just because they have red hair, but
not just because they were the star of their very own movie series known as Air Bud.
Or and also, you know, like, so I see myself coming back in that way. I think people would say that I would either be like a really happy or really moody dog. That's what it would be when I'd come back as if I died and was reincarnated. What about you? What would you come back as?
Oof. That's a good question. I'm not really sure, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably come back as a tiger.
Rad.
Because I like the song, Eye of the Tiger. And I went to a school who was called the Tigers, which granted every other college is named the Tigers, so it's not really the most original thing that's ever come out. But I'm okay with being a tiger. Why not?
That's actually, you know what? Now I want to pick a cooler answer. But it's okay. I think a dog's pretty cool. I think I'll be a dog.
Hey, the dog is a man's best friend. There's no shame in that.
My dog's my best friend. Yeah.
See? It's just how it goes. There's nothing wrong with it. And you can answer these questions however you may wish, and that's up to you there, Noah. Yeah. But if you had someone following you around all the time, what would you have them do?
Oh, like as a dog? Or
no, someone. So this is a person. If you had a person follow you around all the time, what would you have them do? Would they be your secretary? Would they pick up your dry cleaning? Would they, you know, take you places? Be your chauffeur? What would be the case?
Oh, let me think about this. If I could have someone follow me around, I like this question a lot.
Okay.
Oh, this is gonna be a huge character reveal for me. What do I want them to do for me? Let me think about this. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want someone following me around all the time. I like people and all, but like, that's hard. But I have to answer this. What would I want them to do?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I'd want them to be having a good time. So I don't know if I'd like, that's the hard part, is that I'd be just very concerned how they're doing the whole time. That's why I would be like, yeah, I don't know if I'd want that. So I have to get that out of my brain. They'll do whatever for me. Like if they could carry my backpack around, that'd be pretty nice. My backpack is full of art supplies and stuff, and that I'd love to carry more in it, but like my back hurts. So if they were like a bodybuilder or something like that could carry heavy stuff and like carry a big backpack full of like my sketchbooks and things, and then I wouldn't have to, like, if I wanted to get something, I wouldn't have to take it off. Like I just be like, hey, turn around, like just grab me, give me my stuff. And they could keep other stuff in there too, like I love my cat, and she could walk around in the backpack, so they could just have my cat back there. So I could have they could have my art supplies and my cat. So I could be like, I need to cuddle with something right now. Like, here's my cat, and just like carry around like a baby, which I love to do. But I'm not out, that's the thing, because it's like if I'm out walking all the time, I don't have my cat with me. So yeah, that's what I'd have them do, is carry around my cat and my art supplies. That's what I'd have them do.
There you go. If you have a different thought on this, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it, whether you are watching this live or if you're watching this on the replay. Thank you so much for being here. What is your greatest regret?
Oh, crap. Oh, man. Greatest regret.
Yeah. You can either answer or you can just say pass. Doesn't matter.
Well, no, I'll pick it's not my greatest regret, but it's a regret.
Okay.
Matt, if he's still watching, I'm really jealous. At Heroes Con in June. I don't know if you know the artist Chris Somney, but they had a Chris Somney original at one of the auctions for $100, and it was of Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi. Ooh. And I love Chris Somney, and I love Star Wars. And I had bought a lot of Star Wars art already that day, but I hadn't bought that. And we went over and we looked at it, and I was like, I should get it. Matt ended up getting it, so at least I know the person who owns it, but it's still, there's something in the back of my, just the back of my spine that just clinches every time I think about Matt having it. So that's a big regret right now. Yeah, it's yours, Matt, I know, but it could have been mine. It should be mine.
Constructing Comics Podcast says it's mine. That's the comment that's on the screen.
But Matt, someday you're gonna die, and then after that, it's gonna be mine. Just you wait.
Man, sounds like Jafar on steroids. It's mine. It's all mine. So sorry, I just had to say it. Even so, no, that's fair. That's fair. So in that, gee whiz, what did you think about this? Let us know in the chat. What book belongs on everyone's bookshelf? Could be any book.
Oh, tough. Let me look at my bookshelf. I mean, Watchmen's an easy one, but I don't know if everybody would like Watchmen. But it's just a good book for everybody to read at one point in life. Obviously, you've not read it. I'll pick a pretty basic answer, but also it's just like everybody knocks it, but it's a really damn good book. The Great Gatsby, man. I really think that obviously, yeah, it's your required high school reading, but it's easy to read. It's you want to read a classic book and not take too long to read it. Read The Great Gatsby. It's pretty good. Either that or All Quiet on the Western Front. Both of those two books are really easy to read. They're classics. You want to seem classy, you could have either of those on your bookshelf, have a nice copy of them. You don't have to like them, obviously, but yeah, everybody should have a copy of, I'll just say All Quiet on the Western Front. Have a copy of All Quiet on the Western Front on your book. You'll seem deep, you'll seem cultured, you'll also seem like you actually read your high school required reading. So, All Quiet on the Western Front. That's my answer.
Wow. I recently...
I don't even have that on my bookshelf, though. I probably should get a copy. So
I was going to say cheater. But yeah. Even so, good. You bring up Great Gatsby. When I realized how long the book actually is, I thought to myself, I could read this. This isn't going to take long at all.
Yeah, it's an easy book, and I like Great Gatsby a lot.
And you can get it anywhere. So
you can get it anywhere. You can get it for free online and print it out yourself, and then just put that on your bookshelf.
Oh, really? I wasn't aware of that part of it. But okay, I'll have to keep that in mind. I'm going to write this down. So, well, real quick, though, before I ask you the next question, which is Powered by Poddex, what did you think of the more recent interpretation or adaptation of The Great Gatsby from Baz Luhrmann starring Leo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire?
Oh, it's my trash. I
Oh, it's in
like
the.
that movie. I think it's trash, but I kind of like it. Like it's sort of
Wow.
one of those
Okay.
movies. There are a couple movies like that that are just so visually stimulating but stupid that I'm just like, I'm here for it. This is dumb, but I like it. And it's also just like the meme quality from that movie is wonderful. Specifically, like Leonardo DiCaprio, like raising the martini glass while the fireworks are going off behind him is just like, mwah, chef's kiss. That like you can use that all the time.
Yes,
But
you can.
but that movie is so extravagantly nuts and visually stimulating that I like it. Um, and everybody chews the scenery all the time in that movie too. Like it's just like there's just nothing that's not been gnawed on by the end of the movie. It's especially by Leo. Like Leo just goes crazy. And yeah, the movie is extravagant. I would say it probably is also very not a misreading of its source material like Watchmen is, but I don't think it gets like that it's like you're
There's
not supposed to be reveling in the extravagance of things, but the movie
Yeah.
revels in it. And it's like, I don't think you got that part down from the book
Yeah.
because the book's all about condemning that lifestyle and how empty it is. And the movie doesn't do that very well. So I have thoughts. It's actually been a while since I've thought about that movie, but
Wow.
it's a movie.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's so I guess to a certain degree when it comes to Noah, it's so good it's bad, and it's style over substance. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly. I feel
When it
that way
comes,
about a lot of things. Yeah.
wow, my goodness, you got some interesting hot takes. But the next one I have for you, which is indeed powered by our good friends over there at Poddex. What are you most excited about right now?
Right now,
Could be anything.
oh man,
Anything.
I'm going to Disney World in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Hello.
I'm gonna be on the I'm going on the Galactic Star Cruiser, man. Yeah,
Ooh.
I'm pumped. I'm really pumped by that. I'm going with my friend Andrew. We're gonna well, he's not as big of a Star Wars fan as I am. I am going to be living like my Star Wars geek dream. And then we're going to Universal Studios and stuff like that while we're over there too. And just yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. I'm a theme park junkie. Yeah, I'm so excited. That's what I'm most excited about right now. What about you, man? What are you most excited about? And also, what's your take on Great Gatsby? You gotta give me your thoughts.
Here's the thing. As someone who didn't really care much to read the book when we were supposed to in high school, I read something known as the Spark Notes because I just didn't feel like reading. I wasn't a fan of reading when I was younger. I'm much more of a fan of reading now than I was when I was much younger. With all due respect, Noah. But the other thing was, I did see The Great Gatsby in theaters. I ended up buying it on Blu-ray. I liked it. I mean, could certain things have been trimmed or cut or fixed or whatever? Yes, but you can say that about a lot of films, if not all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked it. I liked Leo's performance. I thought he was great as Jay Gatsby. I thought Tobey Maguire as the character we're seeing the story through the eyes from was really good. And also the narration wasn't too bad either. The narration helped me understand the story a little bit more. It kind of helps me with certain things, so it didn't bother me. I liked it. And plus Leo, toasting the glass and what was the thing that he said that stood out to me? And this is actually in the trailer that actually makes it into the final cut. When he takes him on that trip in his fast car, just through the streets of New York and stuff, he says, "I will tell you God's truth about myself. I'm the son of some very wealthy people. But then came the war, old sport." I love the expression "old sport." I like that. I like it a lot. So I liked it. Don't come at me in the comments, but I liked it. But anyway, that's what am I excited about right now? To answer that question, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm excited. Speaking of Star Wars, I'm excited to watch the 3-episode premiere of Andor.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. Oh, I can't hype it up enough. It's so good.
I'm excited. I'm going to be watching it tomorrow.
Good. Oh yeah, you got it. I think I'm gonna watch it again tomorrow. Man, it's. I love Rogue One. I mean, if you want to see,
same here. It's in my top 5 favorites. It's in my top 5 favorite Star Wars movies. Oh, what do we have here? What is that in the background?
I got my Rogue One poster up here.
Ooh.
You can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got it up. It's really beautiful from Bottleneck Gallery. Love it.
That is a good looking poster, and it's a great movie.
Yeah, it is. I saw it. They did a re-release of it a couple weeks ago, and I saw it with some friends, and then they all went home, and I went and I saw it again. I love Rogue One so much. And then the next day, I was at Maryland Pop and Horror Con, where Spencer Wilding, who played one of the Darth Vaders in the movie, was there, and I got photos and some autographs from him. So I was like, I just watched you on the big screen again, and he was really cool about it. Fun story about that convention. Some more drunk adventures. My podcast co-host Matt was known that day as the guy who was trying to challenge Darth Vader to a bicep off, where he wanted to see if whose biceps were bigger, and it was so good. And oh my god, yeah, I love. But Spencer Wilding ended up being just a really nice guy we would check in on during the weekend, and it was sort of cool to say that you were chilling with Darth Vader a little bit. It was fun. Now, Star Wars is my blind spot, like where I'm just like, I can be critical of it. I can say what I don't like about it, but I'll end up loving everything. It's like, I'll be like, because I grew up with the prequels. I think that's what did it to me, where it's like, yeah, these are rough, but I love them so much. And yeah.
I have opinions on the prequels, but we will not go into that soapbox.
We don't. Well, I probably know your opinions on the prequels, and I probably share your opinions. But it's sort of weird thing is where it's like I can be like, yeah, Phantom Menace sucks, Attack of the Clones sucks, Revenge of the Sith sucks, but like I love all of them.
No, listen.
Yeah.
I actually do like Phantom Menace, but 2 and 3, I'm never watching ever again. 2 and 3 to me are hot garbage.
Yeah, they're my garbage. Again, that's
fine. You can have the garbage. I'm just saying that for me, Phantom Menace is the one I can watch. By the way, we're specifically talking about the Star Wars prequels. This is not disparaging anything else that's outside of the series. I'm talking specifically about the prequel trilogy. Okay, so when it comes to prequels, I can watch Phantom Menace because it's got Darth Maul. It's got Duel of the Fates at the very end. Probably the greatest Star Wars. What is it called? The lightsaber battle between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul is just epic on all fronts.
So good.
And Ray Park is a heck of a nerd, and I met him at a Comic-Con. So if you ever get a chance to meet Ray Park, who portrayed the physical presence of Darth Maul in Episode 1, he's a giant nerd. Yeah, and Solo. Yeah. He's a giant nerd, and he will talk your ear off for hours, and he's a really cool dude. But anyway.
Cool.
Phantom Menace, yes. Episode 2 and 3, get the heck out of here. Rogue One, fabulous. Love Rogue One. It's in my top 5 of all time when it comes to the Star Wars movies specifically. So
I find that it may be in my top 5 movies for how much I watch it. Like it's a movie I watch. Like it's kind of a weird comfort film for me. I watch it.
It's a great film.
Yeah. I watch it every time I'm flying home from somewhere. Like it's just a movie I have to watch. And I love Rogue One. I saw it at Disneyland when it came out. Like I was in Disneyland when I saw it, and I think just that environment was just like perfect. And I love that movie.
One. I love Rogue One. It's a really good movie, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this brand new series, which debuted this week on Disney Plus. # not
you gotta
sponsor.
Tell me
it's
what you think
Andor.
of it. Yeah, you gotta tell me what you think. I
will.
I mean, if you enjoyed Rogue One,
I love Rogue One.
I think you might enjoy this. It's pretty
I've been
amazing.
to this battle since I was 6 years old.
That monologue.
I'm down. So I will share those thoughts with you off camera, outside of the studio, because don't want to get too much into a Star Wars soapbox here. But I will say this: I am excited for Andor. Looking forward to watching it, see how it progresses, see how it goes within the characters of the Star Wars galaxy / universe. It's a big universe, let's face it.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to say this. We want to take this opportunity to thank Noah Ray, comic book artist, for being our guest on this week's episode of And I Quote. Noah, thank you so much for being here. Where can the person watching or listening to this find you online and everything that you have coming up? What do you got?
So you can find me online on Instagram at Noah C. Ray, all one word. Looks like Noah Cray. That's where I post most of my art. I also have a Facebook page, but I'm not very engaged on that. But art does go there if you're only on Facebook and you'd like to see my art. But also, if you could give a follow to Constructing Comics Podcast on all your social medias, just search Constructing Comics Podcast. We are also on every podcasting platform. You know, I like, it's one of my favorite things that I do is that podcast, because we get to meet such cool people and we get to interview such diverse creators. Everybody has a different approach to creating comics, and it's wonderful to get to know each and every one of them as they come on the show. And then besides that, you can also find my stuff, everything that I'm working on the Ageless Press Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. We've got some cool projects coming up. We've got an art book for Gonzalo Ruggeri. That's hopefully we'll be having more information about that here soon. And then we've got a book that's being written and drawn by my longtime collaborator Alfred Cabillon. He is an amazing artist, but he's writing and drawing and coloring a book that I'm helping edit and letter. Really excited for that. Of course, Mossvale issue 2 is coming out. I'm doing some books next year with Matt, my podcast co-host. I'm lettering a series from Source Point Press written by Matt. It's called Metal Eagle. I'm doing a backup story in that. I drew it already. I'm really excited. Then I'm also lettering a comic by Matt called Dying Days. Very excited for that as well. And in between that, I've got some anthologies coming out. Follow me on Instagram. That's where you'll see some of my comic art in those anthologies. And yeah, it's exciting. I'm finding a groove. I'm loving it. And then of course, Superior Sam. Everyone Needs a Home. That'll be shipping out here soon too. Yeah.
Great stuff. Thank you so much for being here with us, Noah. I greatly appreciate it. All the links to where you can find Noah are located within the description of this video. So make sure you take a look at those. Follow him on all forms of social media. Support his stuff because sharing is caring, and supporting independent creators of all shapes and sizes is incredible. And it's one of the things that we enjoy doing here at It's Nerd Culture, as well as many other platforms. Once again, my name is Ryan of Nerd Culture. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. And I Quote is on Saturdays, 12 p.m. EST, unless otherwise noted, for special occasions, special circumstances, different schedules. Also, we got a lot of things coming up. We do want to take a moment to thank our good friends over there at theradbear.com. If you're looking for some nerd swagger, whether it be from Power Rangers, your favorite anime properties, your favorite television series, whether it be, or a classic movie, speaking of the 1980s, The Never-Ending Story, stuff like that, favorite properties, check them out. Theradbear.com. Use the promo code Ryan10, that's RYAN10, for 10% off your order. You're not going to miss out on that. Let me tell you. Our next movie anniversary watch along is coming up in a few weeks. It's going to be on Wednesday night, November the 9th. Skyfall, James Bond film starring Daniel Craig, turns 10 years old this year. We're going to be celebrating its 10th anniversary with a watch along Wednesday night, or November 9th, 2022 at 8 p.m. EST on Facebook and YouTube at It's Nerd Culture. Make sure you're following us on social media and smash that notification bell so you get notified when all our new videos go up. I have a way with words. Another great event that's coming up in the future, January. Bag of the Cereal Box presents the Multiverse Fundraiser. It is called the Ritter Rally in memory of the late, great John Ritter. All the proceeds, everything we raise, all the money that we raise is going to be donated to a wonderful cause. It's going to go down on January the 20th through the 22nd of 2023. It is a free virtual convention that you can attend from the comfort of your very own home. We are going to have celebrity guests. We're going to have special panels that talk about writing and artistry and different kinds of topics. It's going to be a great time, and it's all for a great cause. The Multiverse Fundraiser, January 20th through the 22nd, 2023. Make sure you visit the website, www.themultiversefundraiser.com, for more information on all the goodness that's going to be coming from that in the month of January. It is exciting, and I am very happy to be a part of it. I'm going to be moderating some of the panels over there. That is going to be a great time within itself. I'm just saying. In the meantime, we want to say thank you so much for being here. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, smash that notification bell so you get notified when our new videos go up. And in the meantime, stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe, and remember, life is better when reading. Take a look.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Sweet dreams they placed on me inside my mind. Chance my throat, twist the do you want me to be? Am I still me?
Join author Gary Zeiger for an animatic short film based on his breakaway Stingray novel series. Watch this animatic short based on the novel Stingray, You Can't Hide Forever at stingrayseries.com. In Stingray, You Can't Hide Forever, Captain Epsilon is putting the band back together to rescue his protege's little sister from the evil conglomerate, while keeping his state-of-the-art warship Stingray out of their hands. Watch as the adventure unfolds in the groundbreaking animatic short at stingrayseries.com. Then, join the crew of Stingray with the next novel in the series, Stingray Prophecy, where Captain Epsilon and Dr. Zubre are pivotal players in an ancient prophecy. Can they reunite the people of two worlds before they destroy each other? To learn more, visit stingrayseries.com. Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
Do you love stories about anti-heroes, supernatural beings like werewolves, vampires, demons, witches, and more? Then Nightwolf is the comic book series for you. Nightwolf has proven to be a fan favorite with its unique take on the supernatural, theology, mythology, and fantasy. The story encompasses elements of horror, magic, and science in a modern setting. Hi, I'm Robert A. Malteri. I'm the creator and writer of Nightwolf and the founder of Lone Wolf Comics. It's been my dream since I was a kid struggling with attention deficit disorder and dyslexia to be in the comic book business. Comic books have helped me learn how to deal with my learning disability. And that's why this project is so important to me, because comic books have been so influential in my life. Born into an outcast breed of werewolves known as the Monokai, 18-year-old Rodney Marcelli is reluctantly thrown into an ancient war between good and evil. With the help of Snowpaw, the pureblood Monokai, Rod must learn to master his newly found lycanthropy and mysterious kinetic energy power that only he possesses. Rod must fight the Dark Covenant in order to avenge his friends and family and to save the girl he loves from the master vampire Lord Malice. Rodney Marcelli is Nightwolf. Currently, I have written 12 issues of Nightwolf, and I have published the first 4 issues in print and digital formats. Now, I stand ready to publish Nightwolf Volume 1, in a trade paperback collecting the first 4 issues along with exclusive new pages of story and artwork. And that's why I've come back to pay for the printing and the rewards that you will receive for backing this project. I'm extremely grateful for where I am now since publishing the first 4 issues of Nightwolf. When this project is fully funded, I will have the opportunity to tackle a new medium by bringing this gorgeous collector's trade paperback to life. I'd like to thank you for taking this creative journey with me, and I appreciate it so much. So what are you waiting for? Join the Wolfpack today!
Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.